Change your heart, change your life, change the planet.
I've got a coconut growing out of the ground, and I've got a raw food nut right here.
What's up?
Oh! So we're in Paul's backyard right now, and he just chopped down this giant tree which was shading the house and the yard, and now he's going to plant an orchard. So tell me what you're going to put in.
Well, yesterday where I'm standing, there was a big, huge tree, and they finally got that down, and I have this big plot of land here, not extremely big, but big enough to plant a good amount of trees. I've had small amounts of land where I put a lot of trees, so now I want to put a lot of trees on a better size amount of land. I already have some lemon and some limes, and I have a sugar apple, and basically I want to get food that I'm going to be able to eat as a meal. I mean, it's nice to have foods that are a snack, and if I have the room, I'll do that. But I want a good variety, but I also want foods that I could use as a meal. So avocados is definitely something I use on almost a daily basis. Lemons are something I use on almost a daily basis. Mangoes, they come in such abundance. When they do come, you can make a meal out of that. But there are certain foods that are just snack foods. Like, for example, longans, for example. You get tons of longans on a tree, but they're more like a snack. They're not necessarily a meal. And if I am going to plan on having a longan tree and a lychee tree, but those are my snack dessert trees. But for the meal trees, I'm planning on having 3 different mangoes at different seasons. I'm going to have lemon meringue mango. I'm going to have a kit mango, and then I'm going to have Glen mangoes. So I'm going to have those all around the property, and I have a guy coming out to help me do the landscape and figure out where it is to put it, the best places. I'm going to have some soursop trees. I love soursop. They're my new favorite fruit. I already have some other trees, so I'm excluding some from this property, but I am going to have a starfruit tree because that's the most abundant tree in terms of how much it gives and how often it gives. It gives 3 times a year, sometimes 4.
Oh, wow.
Whereas most trees like a mango tree will only be once a year. So, you know, depending if you're away for that couple of months it gives, you know, you've just lost the whole benefit of having it. So I want to have trees that are producing a lot more often, possibly, or at least strategically planting it, and not just putting a whole bunch of fruit trees that are only in the summer.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, my avocados, there's an avocado that goes from summer to fall, and then there's another avocado that goes from fall to spring. So I'm covering a lot more time with that. So it's just more feasible and wiser to do that. Now, it's very interesting over here. I have a septic tank right here, and obviously you can't put a garden or you can't put trees over a septic tank. But what I saw online and what I'm going to do is I'm going to have some posts and put some fishing line or something and have things growing along the vines.
Vines above it.
And speaking of vines, around the whole property on the fences, I'm planning on putting passion fruit, possibly dragon fruit, but they grow more up than out. But definitely passion fruit, different types of passion fruit. I know these 3 different varieties all around the property. They grow abundantly, but they're just, that's one of my favorite foods. I didn't used to like it. They're very sour. They have a sweet one as well, which I love, but I recently had some sour ones and fell in love with them. So I'm definitely going to put those around. Again, those could be more of a snack food, but I've eaten enough to make a meal out of those. So there's so much I could do here, but right where I'm standing pretty much, going along the edges, I'm going to have a garden. And we get good sun here, so I want to have a garden. You don't need, people don't understand that, you don't need to plant a lot of greens to have enough greens for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And that's a big misconception. People think if they don't have a big garden, they can't do that. I have another small garden somewhere else, and I get collards and I get some cabbage. And I mean, I'm eating those greens for at least 50% of my diet. I mean, and they just keep growing and growing and growing. In the summertime, greens and many garden vegetables don't really do good here in South Florida. So I was struggling with this idea. Should I get a little greenhouse, or what am I going to do in the summertime? And I spoke to one of my neighbors, and he gave me a great solution. He says, well, in the wintertime, when you could plant your garden and it's thriving, wonderful. There are certain things like okra you could plant in the summertime, that's fine. But then he said, in the summertime, you got all this fruit, so you don't need as much garden food. And it's just a great answer. And so that's what I plan on doing. And we got some property in front. My favorite of all is coconuts. And at one point, I just thought about putting coconuts upon this whole land. And you see there's a coconut tree up there. I've counted, there's over 200 coconuts on that tree currently. Wow. I actually didn't count. My neighbor counted and told me that. Considering that, I'm going to have dwarf coconut trees because those are too high and a lot of work. I mean, I believe in working to get your food, but that's a lot of work. But I'm gonna have dwarf coconut trees. My plan is to have at least 4 on the property. We'll see how that turns out. And trust me, even if there is 200, my neighbor counted I didn't. I've been known to have many coconuts, so that would not be a problem. So that's only a good answer. But yeah, so I'm gonna try to find room for coconuts, maybe in the front. We'll see how it is. I also want to have enough where if people want to take some, I'm not going to miss it myself. I want to have so much where they can't even take enough. But still, hey, if they're going to take it, they're going to take it. I don't want to be standing there with a gun saying, leave my coconuts alone. But I might get a pit bull if they take too many. But that's it. So I'm really excited about this property. And it was just a blessing how it came to us. And the next time you see us, we should have things in the ground. And hopefully in a couple years, this place will be thriving. And if you're coming to South Florida and you're a raw foodist, look me up, rawlife.com or healthwatchman.com. All right, everybody, until then, have a great day and a great raw life.
Thanks, Paul.
Well, now we're at the front of the house, and I just put 2 miracle berry bushes in. And basically, they're really a fun plant. Again, not a really meal, but a fun plant. But basically, everything you eat after that for about 15 minutes tastes sweet. So if you eat a lemon 10 to 15 minutes after eating that miracle berry, no matter how sour that lemon is, it's going to taste sweet. It's really a miracle. It's pretty amazing. So if you have kids that don't like something, greens or something, maybe give them the berry first. And I've only had them one at a time, but I'm going to experiment and see how much I get and what I could do with that. Believe it or not, I found them at Home Depot. So it was very interesting. So I'm excited about that. And we have more property in the front here. And we're going to plant a good amount of things. And then my neighbor next door has a black sapote. He has a longan. He has mango. He has egg fruit. And he's my friend. So so it's good. So I don't need some of them, but
you can trade.
It's all good here. Yeah, we're not trading money. We're trading fruit. That's the way it should be. Raw food is paid with fruit. I'm also going to get some Monster de Rosa, and they look like this, but they grow and they taste like a pineapple and banana. Absolutely amazing. You know, each climate, each place has their advantages. You can grow more berries in up north or apples, but down here, tropical fruit is the way to go, and I'm really excited to be down here for that.
Oh, the snake. Look at that black snake hanging out there.
And that's a longan tree over there. Look how big that longan tree is.
That's got to be 20 feet high. Now, how many longans would that tree produce?
The whole tree would be producing. I mean,
just everywhere.
Over thousands.
Wow. And how much of the season?
The season is pretty much, I believe it's the summertime. Now, here in West Palm Beach, Florida, if you drive down many of the avenues, the trees are lined with longan trees.
Oh, wow.
You know, people don't know that, but I do. And there are tons. There's like, must be 6 on each side, and they're just loaded in the summer.
Awesome.
Pretty cool.
All right, Paul. See you next time around.
Alrighty, man.
Longan. Yeah, that is a big tree.